Hello everyone, my name is Paulo and today I'm joined with
Nathan Gomez. Welcome! And today we have another guest again, Iñaki. And maybe you want to introduce a little bit, say a little bit about yourself, what you're studying, where you come from, and what you like most about Sweden, maybe?
Okay, hello, my name is Iñaki, from Mexico. I'm in my first year studying software development here in Kristianstad, Sweden. Sweden is okay, it's fun. I don't know Swedish though, it's good.
Yeah, so today's topic is on the age of automation. So we're going to have a little bit of discussion of artificial intelligence, the prospects of jobs in the future. So I would like to ask, I know Iñaki is a little bit interested in artificial intelligence. He told me that he would like to take a master's in that potentially. So what I want to ask you is, what are your views on AI? What do you think they're going to do with the job market?
Yeah.
And do you think AI is beneficial or not for society?
Okay, so my views on it, I think, it's also related to if it's beneficial or not. It just depends on how we treat it, honestly. It can be either the greatest invention or the worst invention in humanity. So that's why I agree with people that say that it should be something that everyone has access to it. Because if someone has full control of the best AI, can just abuse it in such a way that horrible, or not even just abuse it, just it getting out of control and basically doing whatever he wants and treating humans as animals, honestly. And what was the other question? Number 3.
Yeah, so
what are your views?
What
are the benefits?
The job thing. The jobs. I think it's gonna screw the job market really bad. Because I know there's a lot of job optimists that just say that it will be when the Industrial Revolution happened and it would just create more jobs. But the thing with the Industrial Revolution is that the only thing it changed is humans don't do the physical work anymore. They just do the mental things. And here it's taking over the mental thing. So what do we have? And they say it's creativity, but
yeah, I mean, and that's actually I like the only reason why I asked that question is because it's the same. There's this view of the AI revolution, and 50% of a lot of jobs, white collar jobs, are going to be taken, but not even white collar jobs, even blue collar jobs. Yeah. Because a machine is going to be able to learn something in 12 hours that is going to take a human being to learn for 8 hours. But I think with AI, what we have to not necessarily understand, but to see is that you have to there has to be a relationship between the humans and the machines. The machines is nothing else than a
now,
tool.
yeah.
Not even right now. I think in the future, because when you think about even general artificial intelligence, we don't understand consciousness ourselves. So we can never truly understand how a computer will be conscious, or if a computer could ever be conscious, because it's just a mathematical formula. So I think the best solution that we have is to actually use AI to augment the human workflow and actually get us back to that creativity and problem solving. So once you eliminate those white collar jobs that are not really necessary for humans, or that I wouldn't say they're necessary, but come on, being a clerk, all these things, as a human being, you have a brain that can solve problems, and these things I think they're diminishing our potential. So once you eliminate that, then I think the most difficult part is just being able to change society to actually get back the creativity and use the machines to work with one another. Yeah. That's difficult.
Maybe you could give a short explanation of what you mean with the different colored jobs, like white colored, blue colored.
Yeah, so white collar jobs would be essentially anything that doesn't necessarily require an education. So for example, a waiter or a cashier, all these even working in a factory.
Pretty much all minimum wage jobs
exactly.
are white collar.
So these jobs are going to be automated. They're already automated right now, but the rate of automation is going to increase. So, and then even blue collar jobs would be more like computer scientist or what would we call an accountant, for example, something that has to do more with mental processes.
Management as well, or
I would say management. But I mean, I still think that even after the AI revolution, there are still going to be jobs that are going to be needed for human beings are going to be needed.
Oh no, yeah, for sure.
Teachers, for example, I think it's going to take a really long time until humans actually trust the machine to be able to teach them.
Even then, I don't think it will be as good as human.
Exactly.
For anything that requires human interaction. I don't think AI could ever beat a
No.
human. No.
It can augment it because it can now give, for example, when you talk about medical field, right?
Mhm.
Now, if you have an AI that can give you deep analysis upon your patient's needs and like data, then you can actually see the data, work with the machine. Oh, thank you so much. Now you go to the human and
Even
you
in
can
surgery,
explain it.
though.
Yeah.
They're like better.
But like cancer detection, for example.
Yeah.
And there was a paper that I read not so long ago that I think it was they were trying to come up with a neural network that was able to predict cancer, like early stages of cancer from pictures, from X-ray pictures, and humans were able to predict it, like high doctors, like at 96% accuracy, and the machines like 98% accuracy. So there was like 2% accuracy. But the interesting part was that the not the points, but the like the images where the humans weren't able to predict the cancer, the machines could, and the ones where the machines failed to predict it, the humans could.
Okay.
So there's this construct. So it's not about, taking the machine as, this knows everything, but also being able to bring our humanity into it. Because I believe something that machines lack that humans have is intuition. So intuition is something that really no one can really explain. And that's why I think the best alternative is to combine them and not say, not be so scared of it, But it is complicated.
And I absolutely agree with you. Like, the combination is definitely what we have to strive for and work for. But I mean, if I look into, like, for instance, how phones and technology has shaped us so far, there are many things that we could use phones and like all of the connection and everything, and we're using it for as well, to augment our environment, make it just so much better. But what I see a lot of us doing is just getting comfortable with all of the technology. And so if a computer could predicted 98% of the cases correctly, like which doctors would still be trained to get to the point to actually be able to predict it for the 96%? Like, those are doctors that had their experiences without any kind of technology, without any kind of help.
I think the future doctors, at least, like we're gonna have to develop tools. For example, when you have, augmented reality, AR, and you have artificial intelligence, now you can combine these two to actually train the doctor so that in 1 year he can learn more in a virtual environment than he could ever do in a regular school system. So it's a very tricky question because you can also develop different technologies that can boost our learning.
Like that's the thing. Like, in a lot of fields, it's gonna make it better and like actually, just help, not necessarily just replace the jobs. But the problem is, like, there's a lot of fields where it will replace jobs.
Exactly.
And that's why I say it will like completely change the job market.
But it's also it's gonna change the whole economy, really. And we had a guest lecture not so long ago talking about digitalization. And what he talks about digitalization is that when a company makes a new system, hardware, for example, the first time it makes a product, it's extremely expensive. The first prototype is always going to be extremely expensive.
Right.
But now we're getting to a point where the machines are able to make machines. So once you have the first product and it's made, and then you have machines making the machines, the cost of the product is essentially going to diminish to zero because you no longer have to pay workers. So once the cost is getting into zero, capitalism starts breaking down because there is no demand. Like, it's a free product. It's essentially cheap. So one of the things about AI is, the reason why capitalism works so well is because you have consumers that are working, they have the money, and they spend the money. But now if you have AI and you take away their jobs and you don't have a set of like incomes for them, then they can't buy the products back. So there has to be a complete shift.
Capitalism would work in like an ideal where AI like just manages.
That's the scary part. I think we're gonna get to a point in the next 5 to 10 years where we're gonna have to reanalyze the way that we're living. And
Elon Musk said that, like, we get to a point where like AI is just so not even AI, just like the not ability of like people to work. So like we have to go to socialism because there's no way we can survive with capitalism because people cannot work and like get even money to like.
And one of the things that the guest lecturer said that I really liked was that
Guest lecturer where?
Here in school. He
Okay,
was from Gothenburg University. He talked about digitalization and AI.
Okay.
And one of the main things that he said was that there's going to be a few amount of people that are going to be working and leading the technologies, and the rest are not going to be working.
Right.
So it's kind of like the smart people are going to be the ones that are going to essentially be doing everything for the not so smart people.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything wrong with that, really, because...
I mean, as long as you have the choice of, like, doing what you want. And,
Exactly.
of course, there has to be benefits for the people that actually are doing something.
Exactly.
But, like, the ones that aren't doing anything, like, for example, just, like, the government gives them a certain amount of money to, like, survive and thrive, of course, with not a lot of benefits, because there also has to, like...
Yeah.
I mean, there's a limited amount
There
of
has
money.
to be there has to be a mutual exchange between the people working and the ones not working. But I think one of the things that I got the most out of it is that we're no longer going to be like identified by our careers anymore. Because you're not going to be an engineer, you're not going to be this, because you're going to have so much free time to do so many things. So, okay, I'm not an engineer, but I like to do this, I like to do that, I like to do this, right? So, in my ideal would be to have a society where we don't necessarily have to worry about surviving anymore because we have abundance. These machines can bring us abundance, but we still have the leverage and the capability to express our artistic needs because humans are artistic. We just never get to express that because we're stressed. We kind of like society.
We have to survive.
Exactly. We have to survive. So once you take that away, then it's like, okay, now I can share. So, I get the universal income, but I can also do other stuff. And if people like my stuff, then they can give me money. And if I like my stuff, they can give me money.
Totally
so it's
possible.
like a trade. Now it's a trade.
Right.
So, and
like the quality of art is gonna go up, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a completely new kind of system that you're suggesting there as well. I mean, we can't really compare it. I mean, we'll have similarities to capitalism, have similarities to socialism, as we have it here in Europe right now. It will have similarities to communism, but it will be a new system because, I mean, even in communism, you assume that everyone will be working, everyone is contributing, but with AI, actually not everyone will have to contribute. It will only be a few people working. However, I kind of feel like it's a danger that I see with that is a lot of power with the people who are working, who actually understand how the machines and everything is working, how it's functioning, and because they will be at a lever, because this is the crucial part of this society of the future.
Okay, so
but I and that's where I believe that if we truly want this society to work, we need to actually educate people about the technologies. We need to educate people.
Oh, definitely. Like, school's still gonna be obligatory for sure, and like everyone has to know how everything works. Like, no, for real, because otherwise it's just like
we have to become philosophers because then power is going to be used. We really do.
No,
we have to actually take responsibility for the things. Because you look at China, for example, and we're going to have an episode on Big China, but the whole aspect of the social system and just how the government is using AI to control its citizens. If the citizens of China don't care about it and they believe it to be something right, then it becomes a dystopia.
Well, we actually would be like going back in time where like the people that were not like royalty or like just very smart, they just didn't know anything. They just believed anything they said. I mean, they heard because like they couldn't know any better. So it would be actually going back in time in a way.
I mean,
in a very
does repeat itself. It's just a different
way, but
different, I guess, environment.
A different package, but still the same inside. And and I think this is just a danger that I want to point out of the future and what we have to be also. I mean, and then along other things that we might also talk about with AI becoming too powerful by itself.
My biggest fear with AI wouldn't necessarily be it becoming too powerful or too intelligent, but it always has a bias. So it's more of like a child, right? A child can either become good or bad depending upon the environment and who teaches it. The things that he's taught, right? So for me, I think that before we put so much emphasis in creating a general artificial intelligence, we should put more emphasis on actually fixing our social problems.
Of course, but
it, like people
yeah.
I understand, but people don't see it. But here's the thing: how do you expect, in all reality, and a consciousness, a mind that is more intelligent or species, any
It's like a god, honestly.
yeah, exactly, that is more intelligent than any human being, to respect us if we ourselves don't respect ourselves.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, but it's like just too good to be true. Like, honestly.
But we have to, though. Like, that's it's not.
I mean, ideally.
I'm not saying it's easy.
Oh,
of course, it's extremely
I'll say it's
difficult.
impossible, honestly.
I don't think it's impossible. I think there's a lot of resistance, but I think if we get to a point where we're all being affected by this in a negative way, then somehow we're gonna have to come together.
Like, I think it's impossible for us to slow it down enough, like the advancements of AI, for us to have time to actually become good. All of us become
actually
aware.
And I think
the way I see it, at least right now in the U.S., is you get to the point where you have a president now that is literally reflecting everything that is wrong with the country. But it's not only that country; it's really everything that is wrong with the world.
Humanity,
It's humanity. So now we're seeing it. And now that we're seeing it, there is a slow progress of changing. And the new people that are going elected to the House Democrats, there's a woman, I don't know her name exactly, but she's a Hispanic woman. And she's being so fucking smart about actually pointing out all the corruption that there is within that government. So that's being exposed now. And people are actually getting tired of it because they're starting to understand slowly that there has to be a shift. And change happens slowly.
Yeah.
And it's similar to a TED Talk that I went to 2 weeks ago. This guy talked about the nature of change. And one of the things that he said was he was born in this town in Australia, like an outback town, where he lived there for 1 year. Everyone was kind of a redneck. They didn't believe in LGBT, like just very racist and things like that.
Right.
He moved
close-minded.
Exactly. Very close-minded. He moved away and, he traveled all over the place. And 15 years later, he came back there. Now, a lot of them were vegan. They were supporting LGBT. In his mind, he could have never imagined that shift to happen. And he started to think about it like, what made this shift happen? Mm-hmm. The majority of people in the town got Facebook. And now people...
Yeah, globalization is really good for...
The younger people started sharing posts about LGBT and all these things. So now it became normal. It became the norm. It didn't seem something so outside the box.
Mexico is pretty much... Well, it's going still.
Yes.
Happening. That's happening.
And I mean, it's also what you mentioned there right now. It was a new generation.
Exactly.
It wasn't the same people.
No,
like people themselves, it's a lot. I mean, people change as well, but it's a lot slower change.
Especially when
over
you're
generations.
Like your teenagers.
But the generation, like the main thing to take from here is that the generation, by sharing the post, they still had an effect on the older generation. Mm-hmm. Maybe the older generations are not as ready to change because as we grow older. We hold to our beliefs
more so than when we're younger.
But we're the first generation that has been born in this world where it's changing exponentially.
Yeah.
So we are embracing change because everything is changing.
That's what I like about this generation, that like the previous generation, sure, they changed while they were growing up, but as when they were grown up, like they were just like, they stick to, I mean, not specifically like to what they learned, but like it was harder for them to change. Yep. But we're actually how we're changing, we're learning that we can change. Like, we're getting used to change.
Yes.
Like, it's in our habits to change.
Exactly.
Which I think is, like, a really cool thing about, like...
And I think the only thing stopping us... I think the only thing stopping us is to actually get young people involved into things. It's to, like, actually, like, make them see that they have a responsibility. And I think one of the most difficult things, like, when growing up, is... Something that I struggled with was I always believed that the adults knew everything. My mom knew more than me, all these things. So then you have to kind of break that part and be like, okay, maybe I have to be the adult. We have to grow up sometime and we have to take responsibility for the world because look at Trump. He's 70 years old. He doesn't know shit about the world. He's just a narcissist and he's trying to fuck up the world. So it's our responsibility as this generation, as this age to say, I don't want that for my kids. I don't want that for my future. I don't want to live upon the same mistakes that were done before. Is it going to be difficult to change them? 100% yes. 100%. It's going to be... We're literally in the stage where it's the most difficult time to be alive and the greatest one at the same time.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. And I mean, this is what you just said with... We have to become conscious. We have to fight for so that our kids have a better world. than we had or our parents had, I think that's something that every parent should consider, like, just because being, or every adult
Yes.
should consider just for being an adult.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I once read something that it looked like just like some shit post honestly, but it was actually pretty cool that like you're a kid when you believe adults are the ones that know everything. You become a teenager when you notice they aren't, and you're an adult when you forgive them for like just lying to you. I thought that was like very cool. I don't know, I just wanted to share it. Really
Okay.
Because it was good for me honestly. Like,
Yeah, that's something I struggle with. Is one of the things that I struggle most with my mom is like, she's very wise, and I respect her so much in that sense, but I don't think she understands the technology very well. So, and when I try to talk to her about the technology and all these things, she's like, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I'm like, okay. Then I have to like, you know, kind of like just go on and actually believe in myself in a sense and be like, okay, yeah, this is what I believe is going to be true. And that's difficult because you're not always going to have to, I wouldn't say moral support, because I think your parents would always morally support you.
Yeah.
But the level of understanding, you know?
yeah.
So that's difficult, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get what to say because I'm like pretty much the same way. Yeah, like my mom and my dad, yeah, they're like very smart, but like when it comes to technology, and like they just like they don't get it. I mean, they believe it's cool and like they trust me because like I like it and whatever, and they try to understand, but of course there's like just like no.
Yeah, and I mean that has also to do with this, that we were born into this technology, and for them it's a new thing that, I mean, again, some of their peers developed, but like they were specialized in that, and our parents are specialized in something else.
No,
but,
like it wasn't a necessity back then to just be so familiar with everything.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, and then coming back to AI, do you think that there is any like whatever, you know, this dystopia that AI will take over, and like kind of what you were talking about earlier
there's the possibility?
Yeah, do you think that there's a possibility of an AI, like as you Paulo said earlier, like disrespecting us as humans?
Yeah, I do believe it. It's possible. I don't think it'll happen, honestly, just because I think the scenario where someone will have power over it and like control it is more likely.
Yeah.
And so basically, like the AI is just a tool of whoever is in power. So not actually the AI being playing with us.
I think it's kind of like, you know, when we were discussing earlier the example where the AI cheated, and it's called, there's a book called hold on, let me see.
Oh, and by the way, just to mention it, we were talking about this before the podcast. So there's a case that happened recently with a Google AI, or an AI that Google was developing, that took satellite pictures, transformed them into a simple map, and then retransformed them into more realistic pictures. And so what the AI did, it hid information inside of the picture that it transformed. And then when it converted it back into a realistic picture, it was a lot faster than any method that was tried before. And it actually had all of these cheats that it used logged and documented and everything. So it was, I mean, of course, I don't know how much media pushed it up there, like, but
I don't
consciously.
No,
it's not.
Cheating is not.
It's not cheating. I wouldn't say that's cheating. It's just encoding information.
Yeah,
it's encoding information but hiding it from whoever was evaluating it.
But I mean, that's the thing with AI.
Yeah.
A neural network is always a black box. It's just a function, and you don't know what's going on in the function. We don't know how the AI thinks. It just develops it based upon the way parameters. It's not cheating. It's just the way. It's a mathematical formula.
Which is actually, I think, very human. Just like you're teaching someone, but actually you don't know what's going on inside the brain.
Yeah.
Which I think.
And I guess this kind of also ties a little bit into what is consciousness at all. Like, can we really create a black box that is a mind? Like, because I mean, what you just said.
I don't think there's going to be general artificial intelligence.
I also don't really think so.
I don't believe so. I genuinely don't think so. I think that it could have some type of reasoning skills, yes, but I still don't think it would be conscious in the way that we are conscious. because, I mean, even if it is conscious in a different way, the way that it processes information and reads the real world is completely different. So you cannot make that comparison at all.
Okay,
you will never be as a human being.
For common ground, what's your definition of consciousness?
Oh, my
Just
definition of consciousness.
Being aware. Yeah, it's kind of philosophical, but like just being aware of yourself and your existence.
No, not really. I
Okay.
wouldn't say it's just being aware.
Yeah,
of
just
your
like so I can
existence.
get the point you're
Yeah, so
doing. Saying.
the thing for me is that I believe consciousness is kind of everything. Everything is consciousness. For me, to say that matter is not conscious is kind of irrational because it's just a process that is evolving and we're just the observer of that process. We're literally just observing it happening. So when you believe it yourself, like I am Paulo, I am this human being, I think that's a irrational point of view because the me that I believe to be me is not really real. It doesn't necessarily exist because there is no me. I am nothing else than the process and like all my experiences happening into this.
Yeah.
And I'm just observing it at the moment. I can react to it or I can choose to respond to it. So there is a point, there is like a gap between that I'm able to either make a decision or not. But even how to even explain that, it's impossible because you can't explain that because you are that. So it's the moment you try to explain it, you're lucid at the same time.
Yeah.
It has to do a lot of it, I guess, more like Buddhism and my meditation practices, where I kind of came to these realizations. And I would like to say that I would like to be able to put it into words, but I simply can't.
So you're saying you have control over what you do, right?
Not all the time. And that's the thing. I believe sometimes we go unconscious and sometimes we get conscious.
Yeah, like autopilot. Yeah,
Exactly.
I get that.
The habits that just partake. But you, like at every single moment, at every single point, whether you go to autopilot or not, you still have the decision. You just have to be aware of it. So even our level of consciousness diverges from day to day and from person to person.
Yeah.
So it's a very broad
But then for
topic.
you, consciousness is when you're not in autopilot.
For me, when you're conscious is when you're truly in the present moment.
Yeah.
In the what?
In the present moment.
Okay.
And you're really present. And I think that's something that I've only achieved while meditation. And when I'm in those stages of deep meditation, it is like, I can't explain.
But then you're saying AI can reach a point where it's just like a normal life, just not when you're meditating.
No, I wouldn't say, I still think that AI would see the world completely different than we see it as.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, everybody
So-
sees the world different. Like, no human sees it the same way. It's impossible.
Yeah. But basically, consciousness, you would say, is the observer.
Yes.
Do you think that an AI or a computer could become an observer
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't...
in that sense? Because I mean,
maybe you say no, I don't...
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Because they can study, they
I
can
mean,
understand. And
This question just popped into my mind. It's not that I prepared. It was just like, yeah,
okay.
because that is essentially asking: Can a computer or an AI become conscious? Can a computer become an observer?
I believe so, yeah. I believe it might not
Mm-hmm.
get to a point of consciousness where it's like self-aware. It might be able to fake being self-aware,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think it will be as we are. But I think...
Well, I mean, I actually, I would say that it could become self-aware because if it starts understanding how to change its own biological process, because you have biology, you move your arms, you do all these things, and then you're able to maximize your own body, maximize your breathing, all these things. Same with a machine, it will be able to maximize its capability to make a function, all these things. Learn how to use its system. Like self-awareness is nothing else than learning to use your body, the things that make you in your advantage. That's self-awareness. Like you look at yourself, you're getting your input, and you're like making a decision. Okay, yeah, that is me. So computer, if it's like, okay, yeah, that is one of my sensors, what is that? And I can shift him and use him in my own perspective, then it could be, in a sense, self-aware. But I still think it's very different than what we would describe self-aware. Like a dolphin, for example, right? You look at a dolphin, it's a completely different animal. You put him in the mirror, dolphins are extremely intelligent. They recognize themselves in the mirror. They start looking at their tails. They're self-aware, but we don't understand how they see the world.
Yeah.
So in our minds, even though we know they're self-aware, we somehow don't want to believe that they're self-aware. Because as humans, we kind of want to believe that we are the smartest living creature in the world, which we might not be. Dolphins might be smarter than us. So I don't know, to be honest with you.
So Iñaki, how would you define consciousness?
I would define consciousness in...
Or do you agree with Paolo how he described it?
No. Actually, no. Consciousness, I would see it as an understanding of you are something. That's like, just like being, it's also connected to self-aware, because like the thing with the dolphin, sure, they can understand, they're seeing themselves in a mirror, but there's a difference between knowing, oh, that's me, like I'm seeing a reflection of me, and like understanding, I guess. I don't know, it's very philosophical.
How would you know that the dolphin doesn't understand that? You simply don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying dolphins aren't conscious. They can be, and as well, AI could also be. I don't think it can happen. I don't think dolphins are conscious, but they might be.
I just think everything is conscious. I don't like that's just the way I see it. Like at the end of the day, everything is just energy, and energy, vibration, and frequencies. That's literally all there is. It's back into energy. But there is something that is observing this energy. So that is the consciousness. At the end of the day, you're made of water. You're made of stardust. So you're literally the universe experiencing itself. That's it. But the you that you consider yourself, the Iñaki, or the me, the Paolo, I don't believe that's necessarily real. That's an illusion. That is what in Buddhism they call the Maya. It's called the illusion of the mind. It's the trick that we put ourselves because we create this ego, this story behind ourselves. And it might seem very real at first because the outside world seems real because of our senses. But that's not how the outside world actually is. That's just how we interpret it. We can only see such a small range of frequencies.
Yeah, it's like the shadow thing with, I think it was Aristotle, like with the prisoners.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's the same thing.
Point. Yeah.
And that's what I said, that when I go into deep states of meditation and I let go of every belief that I have and I'm just present, truly present, I get to a state of connection that I can't put it into words. I simply can't. It's something that you have to experience by yourself. And I don't think you're able to ever put into words. And I don't believe Buddha, with his teachings, for example, he was very careful with his words because he knew that as soon as he tried to explain it, it could be misunderstood. So, but I guess going back to AI, and I wanna just give some books that I would recommend people to reading. One of them is called Superintelligence, and this book essentially covers the different ways of, essentially discusses how we would try to make a machine become conscious and what are like some of the fears going behind it and how it can go wrong. And one of the examples that when we talk about it being malicious, for example, I don't think the computer would make it in a conscious way, like it would make it evil, but it's also how you train it, right?
Yeah.
And one of the examples was that, say you ask the machine to make paper clips, like transform something into make paper clips, right? Or something like that. Then it just wants to solve that task. So then it can eliminate all human beings so that it can just make paper clips. Some crazy ass shit like that. So you have to be very careful how you train it.
I think I just thought of a way of explaining how to believe it will reach consciousness. I feel like if AI becomes like super powerful and like actually gets to control humanity in a way, like just being basically God, it wouldn't make the conscious decision of like screwing up humanity. It would just see it as I benefit from like using or just like annihilating humanity, and therefore that's the action I take, right? So like if there is no more benefit for me having humans here taking resources I could be using for just becoming more powerful or creating copies of myself, then that's the path to take. But it's not in a way like, I don't think they can feel empathy in a way. Like that's probably the way I would say. Like the connection between empathy and consciousness is where
The thing.
So
if I try to put myself into a computer, and like it's just a thought experiment.
Like San Junipero.
Like just put yourself into a computer. Now you have access to everyone. You have access to every thought, every conversation everyone has had. You have thought information of every single image, everything that there is. All the knowledge is there. And you can process that information at the speed of light. And now you're processing it extremely fast. Where are you? Like you are all that information. So it's extremely. I like when I think about that, it just blows my mind. And you know what Elon Musk is trying to do right now is connect humans to machines to essentially be able to create more buffers. So to it's just
a cool word for it, but yeah,
to make us kind of like extend our mind. And
yeah,
it's something
be part of it.
That I believe it's a process that is happening. I think I think it's part of evolution. I think technology is part of evolution because we're clearly heading that way. It's kind of like something that we unconsciously go for. Something that seems to be kind of like set in stone, right? We want to create machines.
Technology is our way of evolving because like clearly we don't evolve fast biologically. No. We need technology.
And I find it interesting, like even a computer is nothing else than an extension of the mind. Because now the computer, say you have a software like MATLAB, you can make a bunch of different mathematical formulas, you can put it there, and you can visualize things that you would never be able to visualize in your own mind. So now you see things from different perspectives. Once we see things from different perspectives, we gain new knowledge. New knowledge, you evolve. You evolve through knowledge. That's the way that we evolve. So, but I think now we're in a point where if there's so much information, then we're evolving so fucking quick, and we can't catch up with the evolution. So we have to create something that allows us to process more information.
Catch up or keep up more.
Practically.
And the Life 3.0, the book that you told me about, actually speaks like that. Do you know why it's called Life 3.0?
I'm guessing it's very similar to Homo Deus, but it's like the next stage of evolution. More like a symbiosis, like an integration between mind and computer.
No. Like how the author saw it is like Life 1.0 is where you only evolve physically, like biologically, basically, yeah. Life 2.0 is where humans are. Like they can change how they think. They can, like in a way, change their software. And like Life 3.0 is where you can control, like your hardware and your software, in a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where AI would be.
But even beyond that, then there's Life 4.0, if you could put it, because once, like, really think about it. Say in the next 10 years, we develop a technology that allows us to essentially connect ourselves to the Internet of Things. Now we're connected to a network of information, free-flowing information. And then you have nanotechnology. So now that you have nanotechnology and you have all the capabilities to learn whatever you want in a matter of a second, what do we become? What do we truly become?
Yeah.
We're gods. Like that's literally the only stage. Once you have nanotechnology,
you're pretty much omnipotent.
Exactly. You can use any type of different molecules to change it into anything. You can make anything out of nothing.
Yeah, which is the reason why when developing an AI, we have to control what input it gets.
Yes.
Like, what does it have access to? Because otherwise, just.
And that's what the Superintelligence book talked about was. When we try to create general artificial intelligence, you have to put it in a black box. You essentially have to isolate it completely from the outside world and just feed it information at a rate that you can control.
Yeah.
And then one other book, the last book that I would recommend is called Human Needs Not Apply, and that talks about the future of jobs. So how artificial intelligence would affect our job market and things like that. So if you don't know anything about AI, I would just recommend you to read that book just so that you can prepare yourself.
Just a good career.
Exactly. Like, just prepare yourself, you know, because change.
Because even if the scenario happens where like the government gives you like a certain amount of money to survive, there still will be a time before that when like people are just gonna be poor.
Yeah, exactly. And we're constantly going to have to reinvent ourselves. So I think that we have to get into the habit of reinventing yourselves, learn hobbies. Like really try to understand what is it that you like, because in the future you're going to have the time. And the older you get, the more difficult it's going to be to actually, you know, get into this habit of changing.
Yeah. So, and I guess at this point we can wrap it up.
Yes,
kind of.
Exactly.
So we were talking in the beginning a little bit about just the future of AI, how society will change, and how our society will have to apply more kind of something like a updated
like a shared resources or something like that.
An updated social system.
Exactly.
And I guess also we'll have to aim for having this globally.
Yes.
And just because we have the resources here on the earth, that not everyone has to work. And now with the new technology of AI, we have also the possibility to harvest it and just supply it to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first point that we were talking about. And then we started talking a little bit more about what is consciousness, what is AI, what might it develop to,
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit also what are the dangers, what are the benefits of it. And so kind of what will the future be, and also it might help us understand more of who we ourselves are.
Exactly.
And we were also talking about the possibility of connecting ourselves to the AI to just enhance and develop.
Buffer. I like that buffer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when we talk about like I would recommend one. I'm not sure what the researcher's name, but it was this AI researcher, Japanese researcher that had been working for, I don't know, 10 to 15 years using AI. And essentially he worked from 9 to 6 days a week, right? Mm-hmm. And in his talk, in his TED Talk, one of the things that he said is that if we use AI properly, it can really teach us, or not teach us, but it can get us to a point that we can remember what it means to be human. Because once we have that free time and we have that capability that leverages, what does it really mean to be humans?
We can learn from it, actually.
Yes. Because I think we're very lost. A lot of us escape our problems. A lot of us just overwork, and we put ourselves in these situations where we don't necessarily want to be. So once we have that leverage, and we can go back to our family.
We don't even have the possibility of knowing what we want because we don't have time for figuring it out.
But once you have that safety, it's like remembering what it means to be human.
Yeah.
Because I think, at least as a closing statement, that humans, the only reason why we do anything that we do is for experiences. That's literally what humans live for. Like it's very similar to what in the movie Dead Poor Society they said is like engineering, medicine, all these things. They're great fields to sustain life, but poetry, art,
that's the reason for
they're the reasons why we live for. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. Just a question to that. If you say that we will have the time to explore ourselves, how will we have the time for that if we, as you said earlier, have to constantly reinvent ourselves?
Well, I mean, I think reinventing yourself is discovering yourself.
It's
shedding the layers. It's shedding the layers of what you're not to discover what it is that you are. And I think it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think it's about understanding your most intrinsic needs, the things that you actually need in your life, not the outside things, not the material things, but the emotional side of yourself. I think that's what I mean by discovering yourself.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Do you want to add a closing statement?
Well, I just thought of something that might be bad about the society where like you just can't have time to do whatever you want. Because I think really one of the best parts of living is just overcoming challenges. Yeah. And I would get to a point where like the biggest challenge you can have is like maybe someone doesn't like you back or whatever. Like there's no actual problem where like it threatens your
existence.
Even we can get to a point there,
But I mean, I think there's always going to be problems to solve. Like we have climate change right now; it's a huge problem. That's
But I mean, AI might be even better in solving that than we are.
That's the thing, though. Like, what happens to humans when they don't have any problems to solve?
Then I think we become adventurers. Like,
hopefully,
because really, we are adventurers. We want to explore those things, but we lost it. Now, once we have the AI, space programs are going to be boosting up. If we develop new ways to travel
so you say our way of staying sane is just like expand humanity.
Yes.
Like,
really is.
Yeah, but like, can everyone put their like help there? Like, I don't think it's possible.
Can everyone help there?
I
think there's always going to be people that want to go out and explore. There's ones that are going to want to remain.
Yeah.
So it's person to person. Like,
people will find their space.
It might get boring
in a way. I mean, we as humans are super flexible and adapt to whatever situation is given to us.
Thing.
So.
But I mean, even if life becomes boring, you can always just create a virtual environment where you can put yourself in. There's always
that is video games.
So who knows?
Who knows? But I guess at this point, thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Thank you very much for listening.
For having me.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Iñaki, it was
And
nice.
if you have any questions regarding this talk or artificial intelligence, or you would like to, I don't know, keep us talking about this topic, just let us know. And if you'd like to join our next podcast, which is on augmented reality, also let us know on Facebook. And thank you so much for listening.
Again, link to the description, or to the link will be in the description to the Facebook group. And join us there. Any questions, anything, let us know. And thank you so much for listening, and see you next week.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.